All right, this is going to be a demo video for a mod calibration dashboard that I have launched publicly just today. Starting when mod calibration came into the game, I became really interested in the maybe essential question of what is a good mod to calibrate if you're trying to find more speed for your mod roster. And this became actually a bit of a complicated question because we figured out about speed remainders and then calibration costs and then chances of calibrating to a different stat. And I realized this was actually a solvable math problem. And so I created this dashboard, and in the process, it became a little complicated. So I wanted to walk through what all these fields are and give you a chance to understand it if you want to make use of this for your own calibration finding. So we'll get into the dashboard in a minute, but this is the table that comes out of it. And let's at least talk through the different fields that are in it. We're going to focus in on just two mods as an example here, and that's this triangle on Sith Eternal Emperor and this cross on First Order Stormtrooper. If you were trying to figure out which of these mods would be a good calibration candidate, and I should preface by saying this is exclusively in the realm of speed hunting. There are a lot of reasons you should calibrate your mods for not exclusively speed, but speed's the most common one, so that's what this is built around. Up front, you can see that a good reason you would want to calibrate the triangle here over the cross is that the triangle is already a 22 speed mod. And you wouldn't know it from this part, but if you had seen my video on speed remainders and how that can affect the chances of a +6 versus a +3 roll, the triangle actually has a higher speed remainder. It has 0.64 fractional speed remaining, whereas the cross has 0.449. And so all of this together means, yeah, the triangle has more speed, is more likely to get a good speed roll. We should probably calibrate the triangle if we're hunting for speed in our mod roster. But then you would have to consider the calibration cost. This triangle has been calibrated 3 times. Its cost is 75 attenuators. It's 3 times as much as the cross that's on the First Order Stormtrooper for 25. But then there's another mitigating factor, which is that the triangle already has 5 rolls on health, which means if you were to calibrate away flat protection, you have a 1 in 3 chance that the calibration would land on speed, because health can't be chosen. Whereas if you calibrate this cross and you pick flat defense, it can actually have a 1 in 4 chance of going to any of these, and so you're less likely to hit speed. So that would weigh against the cross. So all of this is just a series of probability and math problems, and you can break down what are the chances that a slice will land on a stat, will land on a +3, 4, 5, or 6 roll, and from that, you can just determine an average amount of speed that you'll get from a calibration. This mod here is a 2/3 chance going to not hit speed, and then 1/3 that it does hit speed. It'll distribute across this 4, 5, 3, and 6 at a different amount based on the speed remainder. Comes out to an average of plus 1.55 speed for a calibration. On this cross, you only have a 25% chance to hit speed. Its 3/6 distribution is a little different. It's a plus 1.11 speed. So, all told, this is going to tell you that you're going to get more speed per calibration on this triangle than you would on the cross. But then we factor in cost again. You're going to have to spend 3 times as much to calibrate this triangle as you would the cross. And so if you were to adjust that into the cost or into the speed gain, you would see that you're actually going to get a lot more speed per attenuator if you choose to calibrate the cross. 0.04 speed per attenuator versus 0.02 on the triangle. When I first kind of dived into this problem, I figured this would be the final column, the one that would matter the most. But if you sort your entire mod roster by just speed per cost, you get a lot of unattractive mod choices here. And that is, a 10 speed, a 6 speed, a 9 speed. These aren't the things that you're going to choose to spend your rerolls on. And so we get into the question of how do you weight for higher speed. And I've created a slider in the dashboard, and you can adjust it to your preferred amount of desire to get a high speed mod. What this effectively does is it takes the chances of getting a 28 speed and weights that more than the chances of 27, and it weights those more than the 26 and then the 25. So this mod, because it has a decent chance of hitting a 28 speed final speed, weights a lot higher than this mod. where the highest it could reach in a single calibration is 27 speed, which still is good, and that weights more than the 26, which weights more than the 25, and then the 24. And that gives these obnoxiously large numbers, at least with the slider where it is. And so on the question of what calibration is going to be more likely to give you a roster changing or impacting speed mod, the triangle is again the better choice here. And then lastly, we can again adjust this for the cost of calibration. And that's where these two mods actually end up pretty close to each other, which is why they're ranked next to each other in this dashboard list. Which is to say, at an extreme weighting on speed, high speed priority, these mods are about equivalent in terms of which one you would calibrate to improve your roster. Now, obviously, that's not the only reason you should consider what mod to calibrate. You want to know, you're going to be rolling away flat defense, which is a bad stat, so that makes this better. That, this one, if it rolls onto protection, like that's a throwaway, or maybe you want that. There's a lot of reasons. This whole project started as a way of me to provide recommendations to our guild alliance of, hey, here's a dashboard of some mods that would be good for you to calibrate. And it started with very small things, and then it became very obnoxiously large for all these different categories. And then eventually it became this dashboard, which thanks to Ken at grandarenascience.com, this is now able to be publicly hosted and available to anyone else. So if you go to this URL, and I'll put the link down below, put in your ally code, hit the mod refresh button, it takes about a minute, it'll grab all the equipped mods on your roster. You can then play around with different amounts of speed weighting, mods to show, say you only want to look at like 5E mods that you're considering slicing up to 6 dot, you only want to see those that have 2 rolls of speed. And you can quickly iterate through and do a lot of hunting for what's an interesting mod that you would like to calibrate. I want to find something that I don't want to find this. If you want to just see like what's your best chance at hitting like a real high speed mod, you can just sort by weighted speed exclusively. And you would see that these are like my best chances at getting a real high-end mod. But then if you adjust it for the cost, you get a slightly different assortment of choices here. And so that's it. This was me trying to put all of this complicated math into more of a systematic way of finding the best candidates to add speed to your mod roster. Link will be down below. I hope you find this helpful. Feel free to reach out to me on Discord. And thanks.